Yeah. Fantastic. So, yeah. So, Michael, how are you? I would say the sweet one. Just love the stash. Yeah.
And Ghostbuster.
So yeah, every now and then I'll go on vacation. How was it? Starting 30.
Started 8:30 and mine took the whole pretty much 8 hours.
Great public speaking.
Yeah, it worked really good, and almost the majority of everything you're saying either happened or I've seen happen or I've said myself. So, really well.
That's great.
I would say, yeah, I would recommend it for everybody.
Yeah, I never know.
It's definitely from the top down to
Yeah, it's the only place I shop. Okay. This is in the contract, yeah. So on Saturday, sure.
Sending a message to everybody, or maybe you just got them.
Just got it.
Okay, I'm just looking for people that want to candidates. Or he teaches till 3, he's going right.
yes.
Okay. You said his meeting. I didn't know. You said his meeting.
What I'll do is I'll send an email to the department first. Let them know.
That's.
Okay.
Hey, look at us. Okay, go here. How are you? Okay, I have a lot of things like that too, like, very, very. Yeah. So is it just did you bring it? Well, but I'll say. Okay. I was gonna text you, like, look in your pants. That's weird. I was just send it. Because it went right. Yeah, it sounds like I'm sending something. Exactly.
Those issues might have good ones.
That's great.
It's necessary.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. It's good to do a karate. There's a bunch of There's reasons. Yeah, like right there. Really glad I have a little voice. You're in a different.
Yeah, my work, Jonathan, that has a. We'd like birds and wooden chairs or something. Freeze. You got a coat on.
Yes, so. Right, well then.
We're gonna do jumping jacks to start the meeting. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. If you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The boroughs comply with the notice provisions of the Sunshine Law by prior to January 10th, adopting a resolution prescribing the dates, times, and locations of all regular meetings of the commission. This meeting is one of the meetings listed in such resolution, and copies of the resolution were prior to January 10th filed with the borough clerk. Howell forgot them across the street, but there's copies of the agenda sitting in the back of the room. Chief Davis ran over a crowd, in case you want to get it. Okay, Howell?
Okay, there are no minutes, and I need a motion to file the following reports: CFO, municipal court, tax collector, treasurer, and zoning official.
So moved. Just to let you know, Commissioner Lewandowski's not here tonight. He is at the
the marching band has a big fundraiser going on tonight in cooperation with Rotary. Rotary scheduled the date, conflicts with his meeting here tonight, so he's up there helping up at Topgolf. I don't know how he's golfing and I'm not, but he's at Topgolf tonight, helping the marching band raise some money. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, we have the second reading of ordinance 1671, water conservation.
So this ordinance is being withdrawn. We had originally made some revisions to it to change dates of watering that would be permitted. And there was going to be a water controller. We've got that you were going to be required to have. We've gotten some more information from our water department about some issues with that and some expenses. So we're holding off and just going to withdraw this ordinance completely until we get more of the information on that. So we're not moving on that. So I make a motion to withdraw. Okay?
Okay, we have the reintroduction of ordinance 1670, amending chapter 263, short-term rental.
So this is our 18th redo of the short-term rental ordinance. It is, there have been conversations between a lot of input from our fire department, from the Pennsauken, Collingswood Housing Enforcement Group, over to Joe. There have been, we've heard a lot of the comments that were made at the last meeting about clarifying some of the definitions of dwelling units and a lot of clarification of the language. There was also, at least I know, one resident that met with our fire department going over some concerns in, again, clarifying some of the terminology. So we've made those revisions. We will, it'll be up for reintroduction tonight. And I'll just procedurally try to explain that if there's an abstention tonight, like from Commissioner Leonard, on the vote, it's simply so we can advance this through a first reading. Without Rob here tonight, it's the two of us voting on things. So in order to have a public hearing at the December meeting, because I do not anticipate any more changes on this right now, but we want to make sure we have the public hearing in December. If we don't do that at our regular meeting in December, we would have to hold this off until next year. So the earliest it could move would be February. And because we're not going to have a public hearing, we have another meeting at the end of the year, commonly referred to as our cleanup meeting, which is one when a lot of kind of administrative and budget transfers and things get done on December the 27th, that is this year, in the morning. So, so we don't want to do a public hearing on this short term at that time. So that's what this introduction on first reading is. Okay?
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Leonard.
I'm going to abstain from my vote so that it can go to its second reading. I can't possibly vote yes to something that I don't agree with, but I do agree that it should move forward to a second reading in a public hearing, so that it doesn't make us have yet another meeting. I continue to believe that it's commercial use in a residential area that's not for the good of the public. I also think that it deserves to be looked at for another month after this reading and not to hold that part of it out. So I'm abstaining.
Thanks, Jim.
Do the first reading of ordinance 1674 to amend chapter 29. Oh, I skipped one, I'm sorry. First reading of ordinance 1673 to increase water rates for 2020.
So this is an increase on our the water bills. I'll just tell you that during 2019, so we have done it, and we did an increase last year, we've done another, this is an increase again for this year. Public hearing will be at the December
2nd.
December 2 meeting. We have spent roughly $800,000 within our water sewer budget for capital improvements at the water plant, for drilling the new main, drilling the new well, for physical work on the plants, on the well houses, on some GIS mapping, rehabilitation of the sand filters at the water plant. We're doing major infrastructure improvements on the water system. Without the water rate increases allowing us to do this without going out on bonding. And the other piece of this, which is a big one, is we're required under state statute now to do, replace so many feet of water main within the borough, required to do it every year. So this helps us satisfy that as well. So the water rate increases will be December 2, that'll be the public hearing.
Mayor Mallon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
And we have the first reading ordinance 1674 to amend chapter 29 Fire Department Service.
I know what this is. Chief, you gonna help me with this?
So we're increasing some fees for the ambulance billing, and upon doing that, we reviewed the ordinances and found that they're very antiquated and maybe,
Right, and this is kind of recodifying it, moving into different sections, also increasing some fees. For the most part, they're fees that are paid by insurance companies. There are billings that we do when there's a car accident or some other calamity, and we bill and insurance companies pick it up. So that's what we're getting in line with what other towns are right now. Second reading will be at the December 2 meeting. Okay, Hal?
Mayor Mallon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
And we have the first reading of ordinance 1675 eliminating chapter 155-13 emergency fee schedules.
And this is part of the recodification, simply reorganizing the ordinances more correctly. Okay, so go ahead, Al.
Mayor Mallon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
And then we have the first reading of ordinance 1676 amending redevelopment zones.
So this is an ordinance that will make zoning changes throughout town through the use of a redevelopment plan. And it's really focused, we don't have we're introducing it by title tonight. Within a week, we'll have the amendment, the plan amendment. It is mainly directed at, we're beginning to see areas in town where properties are being purchased, plans being advanced to demolish perfectly good existing homes in order to build much larger homes. So we want to include, that don't fit, at least in our opinion, don't fit within the character of the neighborhood. So we're trying to get something on the books that takes into account that any new home that's going to get built, that there needs to be a continuity with the character of the neighborhood, okay? So that's what this is. That'll be available before we publish the ordinance for hearing on December 2. Okay?
Mayor Mallon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have a public comment on any of the resolution agenda items. If there's anything that anybody would like to comment on, this is your opportunity to do so. The resolutions? Anybody? Okay. Hal?
We have a resolution appointing Nicholas Bruns as full-time police officer for the Borough of Collinswood.
Yes.
Yes.
Nicholas, come on up, bring your family, whoever you'd like to bring up. Can have the whole team over. Come on, here, bring them over here. Hi. Hi. All of that, okay. I'm gonna place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, repeat after me, please. I, and state your name.
I, Nicholas Bruns,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of police officer
of police
for
officer
the Borough of Collingswood
for the Borough of Collinswood
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome aboard, officer. Thank you, men and women of our department, for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. You are free to leave, unless you would like to stay. Okay, Holly.
Appointing SLEO one officer to the Collingswood Police Department, Georgianne Matten and Joseph Rivera.
Yes.
Yes.
Appointing Miles
Tribulus.
as junior firefighter for the Borough of Collingswood.
Yes.
Yes.
Appointing Kimberly Corman as administrative assistant for the Pennsauken Collingswood Fire Prevention Bureau.
Yes.
Yes.
Appointing Kristen Wilson as youth services and reference assistant for the Collingswood Library.
Yes.
Yes.
Appointing Anita Schofling as deputy registrar.
Yes.
Yes.
Reappointing Robert Rodriguez to the Collingswood Housing Authority.
Yes.
Referring ordinance 1676 for redevelopment plan to the planning board.
Yes.
Yes.
Requesting approval of special items of revenue and appropriations, safe routes to school.
So on Safe Routes to School, just to give you an update, we actually think this grant that has been going on for about 55 years now, we actually think it's advancing to where we may actually build something. So the Safe Street to Schools Safe Routes to Schools involves at least two areas that I'm aware of. One is Homestead and Haddon Ave, and the other is Park and Lease, kind of around St. John's. I think there's another location, but tonight I just was not able to track it down. It's close to $800,000 of grant funding we're getting right now, involving kind of start to finish, the engineering, construction management, the construction. At Homestead Avenue, it's going to be a bump out system up there for pedestrian crosswalks. When my office was there, I can tell you that it was, the number of screeches that you heard outside the window were just unbelievable. So it'd be great to help that out, again, because of the offsetting streets. So we think that's actually coming. And we got a couple of resolutions, right? Yeah, a couple that are here that are all involved with what seems to be the actual implementation. So, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Authorizing an agreement between the Borough of Collingswood and Remington and Vernick Engineering for construction management, construction
Did
inspection.
you hit the grant, submission of the grant? We did the special items of revenue, right?
Oh, did I skip the?
I think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ratifying the submission of the grant agreement for the Safe Routes to School and traffic calming improvements.
Yes.
Yes.
Authorizing an agreement between the Borough of Collingswood and Remington and Vernick Engineering for construction management, construction inspection services for the
Yes.
Safe Routes to School, traffic calming projects.
Just move on. Yes.
Authorizing a shared service agreement with Camden County for Project Save referral services.
Okay, so I just want to talk briefly about this. So this is a program that we've had going on for about 3 years now in our municipal court. It began, well, it's got to be 20 years ago, in Superior Court. It's commonly referred to as drug. What it involved, they are provided an option to be referred to a treatment program, as opposed to go through the criminal penalty process under the court system. If you successfully complete that treatment program, then there's an ability to avoid the criminal penalties. In Superior Court, it started here in Camden County 20 years ago. Gabe Guerreri, who ran Genesis Counseling for a long time, he's retired now, but Gabe started that program here in Camden County. It's one of the most important, because it's a room full of people that are in the program, and they come up one by one to the judge with their counselor, and they go over what they've satisfied, what they haven't satisfied. If they haven't done everything they're supposed to do, they go off this way and go right to the county jail. If they have completed, they're allowed to leave, to go home. Municipal court level, for this year in Collingswood, we've had 37 referrals, which is a lot. It's a great program. We started a couple years ago, and this year the county is sponsoring it for the next 3 years. So it's great help for us, gives us some money to help cover and pay for it all. But it's a program that's going to be going on for the next 3 years at least. We're very excited about it. I was at a little mini conference about it, and the chief and I have talked. We haven't talked to Maddie about it, but we're going to rethink our of money that we have and begin allocating it, tying it into actually helping people specifically individually with jobs, with work, with like the next phase after they get through the system. So it's a great, great initiative. We thank the county for committing the funding to it. That's what this is all about. It's all about having the money to do it. It's a great program, so we're looking forward to keeping it going. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Refund of, authorizing a refund of tax overpayment for block 12, lot 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Authorizing foreclosure of certain property for delinquent taxes, block 118, lot 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Approving an IT practice policy.
And this IT practice, this is part of the JIP, part of our JIP requirement. So we've added on our insurance side some cybersecurity provisions. This is one of them, and there's some other changes within borough operations that we're doing in order to qualify for lower deductibles and lower retention on our cybersecurity coverages, right? So okay, yes.
Approving raffle application 2019-12 for Collinswood High School band boosters.
Yes.
Yes.
Establishing salaries for certain.
So how, we're going to be able to do the authorizing the signed agreements with the superiors,
Okay.
okay? We
Yes.
weren't sure, we thought that was gonna have to be pulled with our police officers that have left, but they delivered the signed agreement to us tonight, so we can do it. You
Okay.
still have it? It's a resolution authorizing
Alright, to sign the-
execution of an agreement with the superior police
Okay,
officers.
yes. Not me, yes, you, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Sorry. Establishing salaries for certain employees in the Borough of Collinswood Police Department.
yes,
Yes.
Authorizing a budget transfer resolution
yes,
and approving payment of bills presented by the treasurer.
yes. Just the budget transfer resolution, the rest I think are self-explanatory, but the budget transfer resolution is simply, once we get after November 1, the municipal budgeting process allows us to transfer money between accounts. So it doesn't increase what we're spending overall, but if the electric bills were higher or insurance was higher, it lets us transfer from other accounts where we still have room. Okay, that's what that is. Yes, okay. Commissioner Glenn,
Too busy signing my name. So many
yes,
things.
go for it.
Okay. Small housekeeping issue, but you're probably preaching to the choir here, but if you see anybody who's breaking their leaves, they really can't go in the street. They have to be on that tree lawn. Street, it makes it impossible for them to get the leaves. They get smashed by car tires. There is one man at Public Works who gets his rake and pulls it into the street as needed. So spread the word. We publish it. I'm just saying if we can keep the leaves on the curb and not off the curb into the street would be very helpful. I know we can go through with the water conservation issue tonight, the resolution, but know that water conservation is very important to all of us and our sustainability team, and we will be looking at ways to try to help conserve water, even if that particular ordinance didn't fit the bill. We're drilling and spending $800,000 so that we have more water. It would be great if we didn't waste water when we don't need to waste water. And maybe choosing plants that are perennials instead of annuals. There's many things we can look into and seek that expertise. Hopefully this is the year that we learn more about that. We've come so far in learning for the environment in terms of reducing pesticides, using compost, et cetera. Water conservation is certainly a very important thing. Reducing idling from cars and vehicles, increase pollution. There's so many things that we can do and continue to work as we move toward our next Greek festival and educating ourselves even more. I want to put out a special thank you to the Department of Public Works, our neighbors and our volunteers who worked together to kick off our first 15 trees of the fall planting that went in on Saturday. Just by coincidence, I see Mike Lazaro in the group here, who was our lead volunteer, who went throughout the neighborhood giving out papers and encouraging people knocking on the door to get a new tree planted. So I want to thank Mike. It was super. We're going to have about 40 trees planted because of that effort, and really getting neighbors involved in this instead of it just being a municipal action is following the lead of so many other things, such as community gardening and other things we do where the neighbors are involved in things together, that the borough is participating, leading, assisting, and working in a partnership. So getting trees in the ground and watering them and taking care of our trees is what we really need for sustainability. So I want to thank everybody who participated in getting them done. Trees are beautiful. If anybody wants to know the species, there are so many new species that we're bringing in that are beneficial, so give me a call anytime to talk about getting a tree. Mayor?
I've done enough talking. All I can tell you is that the leaf raking, we were talking about it earlier, we reminisced that just a couple days ago, Keith Hastings, our administrator, is 34 years with the borough, and why this child's memory is he started raking leaves for the borough. And soon after, they needed a water meter reader, and then he went to that, got the promotion up to that. But Sandy Powell's also celebrating 33 years with the borough. Congrats. I think, I'm not sure if it's a reward punishment, I don't know what that is, but, okay, I'll open the floor to the public. Anything you'd like to bring before the commission, this is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Mr. Klingman, just give your name and address for the record, okay?
Richard Klingman, 743 Maple Terrace, on Haddon Avenue at 855. They're doing a rehab on the house. They put in a new sidewalk.
854. Yep.
And when they put in a connection for the water or the sewer, the cap they put on there is 1 inch above the cement level for the sidewalk. It is a hazardous condition.
Okay. We're aware of the property. There's been some other issues. So we'll be sure to have someone take a look at that as well.
Thank you.
Okay? Yep, well aware of it. Anybody else? Okay, we're adjourned. Good. You know, I'm gonna have to, go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask about meeting minutes, Cape Delaney 126 in Palmer. There isn't any available since July.
Oh,
I don't have that.
okay, they're not completed yet. Holly hasn't gotten to them. She handles all the Oprah requests too, so she gets busy with all that. Okay? Yes?
Eleanor Dill, 27 East Browning, and a number of us are here. Just keeping before you the community choice aggregation for power, especially for clean power.
Right.
So we just want you to know we're still meeting and gearing up, and please keep us in mind, and we'll be coming back.
Well, no, that's okay. We've had discussion with Gable Consultants. I do a lot of work with them and some other stuff, and they're keeping us posted on what's going on out there. I know the borough participates in what's called the SEM, an energy aggregation program that the last set of bids for that didn't generate lower numbers. So the marketplace right now is a little funky. And that's, what's the SEM? The SEM is like, is it 40%? 20%? 40%? 30% is sustainable energy. So we're in this, we're keeping track of it with the consultants and, with an eye toward, seeing what next steps might be. Probably won't move, if we do anything, it probably won't be until after the first of the year, purely to put it into next year's budget, not, because it's not part of this year's budget. And as I understand, the first step would be that we would hire Gable or hire somebody to do a study for us. And to kind of look it over what the energy usage, and hear from them, what their best guess is on how things will go. Okay? Sure.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Everybody else? Okay, we're adjourned. Here, this is all.
Thank you.
You got it. And how? You would.
I gave our,
Oh,
and every
so now you're really using it. So you know that, Jim, they use borrowed water at the community gardens, but they've doubled their capacity of green barrels, so they're actually reducing their water use. And they compost everything.
We're actually doing it?
Yeah, we're actually doing, and they have.
Oh, we've been doing that, the double barrel.
Yeah, so I mean,
And the,
I did have it, people didn't want a greenhouse on the side of nuts.
Okay.
That's really nice, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
So they built their own greenhouse. Yeah, it was Carol Eric's company, so like where they're all in agreement there, and they use all the side windows and stuff. So it's like a little dream.
What do you need?
Couple questions. So on the short-term rental, just
It's like joking, it's like the clarifying the dwelling unit definition. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, talk to Joseph, he can tell you what they were. Because literally with the fire guys, all the enforcement guys had comments.
okay.
And that's
After they read.
Yeah.
The second is something.
Yes, yes. Three, it's been introduced the third time.
The other question is, the planning board will represent. So the zoning says
This is one thing.
Amendments to our redevelopment plan, right. For the
bring new definitions of zoning into play? Or is it going to expand? Because Brett and I looked at the map and I'm like, why did they say that?
It goes, that's a whole different game. Yeah, that's a whole different game, yeah. And what does that do, what does that do for every other block and neighborhood in town? This is not just a one-off, like.
No.
Oh, yeah, Penn Township's having it going. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So what do you, because he was.
Well, you'll see, when we get it to you, us, we'll, you know, we should have it like the beginning of next week, but you'll be able to take a look. We're addressing. That's it. I got no specifics for you. We denied the demo. Well, that night, what I put on the record is that they really gave no evidence whatsoever about why we had to do it.
So there wasn't the
Right, right. Take it down.